Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Rational.com. What are we? The Rational Investor. That's what we do. Rationalinvestor.com's daily brief. I'm in a bit of a weird sort of mindset today. I've been really depressed since the site won't let me see my screeners. It's just been bugging me to no end. No idea why. I've rebooted the computer multiple times. Nobody else in the world seems to be having the same issues as me. It's across multiple browsers. I just can't do anything. So it makes me very unmotivated when I can't see my 1980s website, see what the hell's going on. Anyway, so I'm not really in that great of a frame of mind here this morning. So sorry, everyone. And it doesn't even look like anybody's watching this anymore. So I guess we don't have to worry about that. But anyway, we'll give you 30 minutes of the best Brian can give you, and then I guess we'll send you on your way. Interesting. Now we have the S&P 500 now rolled over along with crypto. Crypto violently rolled over yesterday, and I saw that Mr. Gensler has decided to wage war on crypto. I suppose that Trex site, finally, they're going to hold that guy accountable to all his nonsense that he was doing over the years. We'll see how that goes over time. And if anything, I just put a tweet out, I mean, it's actually pretty cliche, but we should probably expect some sort of top to come into the market. It is the end of April, beginning of May. Governments are basically at war with their citizens now, whether it be, substitute drama teachers have completely destroyed economies here in Canada. And a really good anecdote I was reading in the rags here today of how just completely out of touch this often happens with bureaucrats, especially people that are lifers that work in government basically their whole lives. They don't really have like sort of real jobs. I saw that and how the hell this person has actual working experience to justify being appointed the finance minister of a G7 country. When Trump was in office, she was like a mid-level Department of State executive that had to basically liaise with Washington. How on earth does this person become the finance minister of a G7 country? That's how backwards this substitute drama teacher society is in our country. And I mean, just, and if anything, it's good to see that Canadians are finally saying, these mindless sort of just Klausocrats, maybe we'll call them, are so completely out of touch with reality and what real Canadians are going through, and she's getting feedback, smug, elitist, clueless, entitled. I mean, just all this. I mean, it's, how do you describe what we're going through here in the 2020s? It's just ridiculous. So anyway, it's a bit of a tough slog, and mentally, I, of course, like to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. And I did see Chris was telling me that, and actually Stuart in his broadcast yesterday for the site, did a great presentation as always. Stuart's such a stalwart. But Chris and I were even talking about it this morning, that this MetaMask thing, this is getting a bit problematic. People around the world are having sort of their assets drained from their accounts on MetaMask. I suppose it was kind of weird, like subconsciously I didn't really want to get involved with all that and the DeFi and stuff, and looking back now, I'm kind of glad I didn't. So I don't know, Chris, have they actually figured out what is actually wrong with all of that? yet?
No, the scope is pretty broad, and the scenarios from that Tay individual that Seor was mentioning yesterday on Twitter, it hasn't been identified yet what the cause is.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Did you have the link to that handy, just so I can show
yeah.
these people? Chris, if anything, probably, and actually, this is also a good sort of side commentary. People have been sending me messages and stuff on Twitter, but I'm just not that good at this stuff. And really, we have Josh, who's sort of running our social media arm, and I've been basically sending people to talk to Josh when they need specific answers. So somebody was asking from, and I have no idea who these people are, MEX Exchange, MEX, I guess. So Josh, thankfully, he's trying to reach out to him. There's another gentleman who was asking me for help, and I was like, talk to Josh. I mean, I'm too stupid about this stuff. Uh, and here is Chris's link, I guess, that tells us a little bit about what's going on here. MetaMask denies claims of wallet exploit and massive $10 million hack. Oh my goodness. So it's a bit stressful out there right now. Um,
I was not
and
unmuted
then
on YouTube, so
uh, Chris is saying also the Twitter. And like I said, if anything, I love the fact that I have people like Sjord in my life, and Chris, Josh, the whole TRI team. In fact, it was great to see Graham was in the lounge going, "Hey, where's the PMA room, man? I need a shot of PMA in my arm here this morning." So it's great that we have all these beautiful people surrounding me. It's days like this that I really need it. So thank you, Chris. Thank you for being in my life.
absolutely. Anytime, man.
Um, my daily routine. Uh, Unfortunately, when you get involved in these companies, and this always reminds me of sort of Top Step and them saying, "Don't go down this road, Brian, because you're a good trader, and really we need you just to trade." So today, I woke up to TRI meetings and this and all that and stuff. And of course, that doesn't set you up with success. And of course, I'm having, actually interesting. I like to do this, and I think all of you, if you do fancy yourself traders, you got to go through these morning checklists. How's your computer doing? How's your diet doing? How's your sleep doing? And like I said to you earlier, I'm having problems with the computer right now, so that didn't set me up very well. Then I had TRI meetings. That didn't set me up very well. So I was just like, you know what? This day's got bad karma written all over it. There will be no trades for Brian today, which is kind of a shame because, and also too, this is a bad comment about living on the west coast of North America. But there was actually a pretty good setup here this morning. I like to use ATR and sort of ATR ranges to help me gauge when markets maybe have gone a little too far in one direction or another, and they ought to reverse. This is an indicator that student site member, actually, he's gone on. I think he's gone on and taken my weekly commodity trend survey concept to the next level. It's pretty impressive to see what he's done. Sure hope he gives me acknowledgement if he goes and makes $1 million with the product. Um, but we came into an ATR level there overnight in gold. And I even remember sort of waking up all groggy this morning, and gold was right down at its lows, just fallen right out of bed. But this is how I like to operate. And every trader has to go through this process on their own. Where how are you going to set it yourself up to participate on a regular basis? I personally like to identify 4-hour levels, and then as we're coming into those levels, then drill down to the lower time frames, and you notice, there is that horizontal support and resistance line. 1987.10, which would basically be right in this area here, is ATR. So at this point, market's probably gone as far as it probably normally would before some sort of check. And then you notice, look down at the indicators, you have a beautiful bullish divergence that came in right down here at about 5 a.m. We did have Willie stupidly oversold. And you can see RSI had started painting higher lows and higher highs. And also, too, the volatility coming out of RSI. Stuart, our CTO, he loves to use this RSI compression of Bollinger Bands on RSI as a timing tool. So put it all together, it was the prettiest little triple bottom too. I love when you see triple bottoms. Buy signal there at about 1983 or so here this morning. And you can see, I mean, holy for holies. And if I'm not mistaken, Chris, didn't you say, I think as we were loading this up, Chris actually had was it an opening range trade that you had working?
It was indeed an opening range trade in gold. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I saw on his screen, it was like, I'm up like 1,500 bananas or something. And it was sort of like, oh, you bastard.
Sorry. Apologies.
So anyway, and I've told you, I'm super excited. I mean, if anything, this is kind of good because it takes me out of my funk. But I'm super excited to do this My Forex Funds prop trading experiment that Chris and I are going to do once he gets sort of settled back in here in North America to take these opening range trades together. I think I've shown you guys on my spreadsheet. It's a bit thin right now. Opening range trades, I just haven't been doing anything. So a little disappointed in that. But anyway, so there was an absolutely fantastic trade there to be done in gold at like 5 o'clock in the morning, my time. Oh, wonderful. So anyway, I haven't seen anything happen in the stock market. I like to follow the stock market, gold and crude. And I didn't see anything develop in crude. If anything, looking at the market, yeah, you can see markets rallying quite a bit. On a 4-hour basis, there's ATR there as a bottom, and ATR is all the way up here as a top. So we're kind of in no man's land right now here on the stock market. Crude was looking interesting. We are at ATR levels. The only problem is the bounce that came in there first thing this morning was just a V bottom. So I'm not allowed to trade V bottoms. Of course, I like to see things like bullish momentum divergence as we're coming into levels. No bull div. Then I like to see W's, and like the gold chart showed you there, like a triple bottom is absolutely perfect because 3 highs or lows I think is really good to risk against. And if anything, you can make the argument bear div, bear div-ish, I guess, on RSI. And Willie didn't quite get stupid, but nothing really set up for me here on gold either. So on crude. I suppose we had oil inventory numbers come out there shortly, and that's probably what put the kibosh on whatever this rally was. I suppose just looking at the broader markets picture, we've been talking recently about this. I do think that the US dollar is probably a little overdue for some sort of rally. We have been basically going straight line down now for a better part of 6 or 7 months. So a nice counter trend rally is probably a little overdue. We have a little railroad tracks bottom there, so we'll see how that goes. Bull div, I don't really like this. I don't like to trade these bull divs that look like this. I would prefer a nice, well-structured W here. RSI also went to new lows, so really I don't think there's a huge hurry here to call bottoms. It was interesting, though, to see Willie did get stupidly oversold, so coming in on the sell side down here is probably not the best idea. What's driving all of this? Actually, it's interesting. Chris was telling me, if I'm not mistaken, that he did have a short on Ethereum. So you still working that trade? I don't know, Mario.
Couldn't get to the mute fast enough. Yes, I am still actually in that trade. Yep.
There you go. Maybe Chris should be doing this show. Sounds to me like he's awesome. Anyway, I love to see that. And ironically enough, one of my major goals in life, and it probably sounds a little bit bizarre, but I would actually prefer to see all of you actually be better traders than me. And we have made some absolutely fantastic traders here at TRI. We've gone on to do some big things. So it sounds to me like Chris is well on his way. So he's killing it in the gold market, and he's also killing it in the Ethereum market. Nicely done, Sarah.
Ooh.
Gotta tell you, there's a whole bunch of tops in here, eh? I mean, what are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? Especially if we get a smile within a smile. Sort of like this little, the right-hand part of the smile has a little smile embedded inside it. Oh boy, that's a bad signal. I mean, I suppose in combination with Mr. Gessler basically dropping the hammer on crypto, and now this MetaMask thing, which is probably going to make the whole DeFi space freak out here. Yeah, maybe it's and keep in mind that we did just have a major fundamental event. So they usually say buy the rumor, sell the news. I mean, you can see how far this thing has come. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was back, where was it? I think it was back in last fall, if I'm not, no, actually, I think yeah, because I remember I had a stake bid to buy Ethereum at about $1,000, and it was just floating out there. And anybody who had the balls to step in and buy that original W, and it's kind of a sloppy W, but triple bottom. Remember what I said there a moment ago about triple bottoms. And then again here, and you can see that's down around $1,000, $1,100. Here we are up at $2,200. If you could sneak in below 1,000, of course, this is how crooked this space is. This was probably like intentional by guys like CZ and those crypto Cobains and all those kind of people. It wouldn't surprise me if they were taking some profits on that fundamental event there the other day. Also too, and then we went after the stops, this high right here. That's a liquidity pool, and Julian's been talking about PVP and all that kind of stuff. I don't know whether anybody, in this space particular, especially playing the cash market, would actually have stops there. That would be more like a conversation for these guys. My hunch is, though, that there probably were stops up here. Yeah, right on that event. So in the futures land, right? And then we went after the stops. There was probably a ton of stop loss orders just above here that represented quite a juicy liquidity pool. They go after them, ding, 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 ding. And now we're on the other side of that event. So if anything, hats off to Chris for having the balls to come in and fade a very powerful rally there. Kind of buy the rumor, sell the news. So way to go, Chris. Good to hear that you're doing well. Ironically enough, just like Bitcoin, we've been talking about this recently. Bitcoin's price action right now seems to be just flirting with this massive megaphone that we've been tracking for quite a while now. Here, boom, boom, boom. And interestingly enough, right on the top of this megaphone here, it kind of looked like we were breaking away. All right, that's it. We're done. And nope, more megaphony. And this actually is a really good anecdote of the midpoint of the megaphone. So if anything, you should probably all take a screenshot of this. Notice how if we draw out our megaphone and we kind of ask, where is the pivot of this? Notice it's just about exactly half of this megaphone. So, David O, we had our stock pickers club meeting last night. It's funny how I didn't get him to look at this. I was humming and hawing about this, and we looked at so many different stocks. We never did get around to looking at these megaphones. But interesting how we rallied right up into that horizontal support and resistance line. And then look at the beautiful market structure here that developed right off that damn horizontal line, right off of the POC, and then back down we go. Is this now a third tag of this line? I don't know. It might be. I'm not quite sure how to interpret this, to be honest with you. I suppose, I had even said yesterday I didn't have anything that sort of set up any sort of justification for pulling the long trigger yesterday. It was sloppier than slop. They busted the market to new lows here, broke this little bottom. Yeah, there was a bull div, and then just straight up, right up into that level. And then just a big old fat M, again, if you want to take a screenshot of this, add it to your journals, right? What are you supposed to think if you ever see the market smiling at you? So nasty breakdown there, and boosh, down she goes. This just looks uglier than ugly. No real momentum bottoms here yet. You can see the bears are fully in control. Like I said, until you actually see that this MetaMask thing has actually been resolved, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh boy, this looks scary. Scary monsters, scary monsters. I put out a tweet yesterday because we were very fortunate. One of the names that we picked up there through the winter rallied up, and we were able to bang out a double. And if anything, you see how much red is on the screen. This is why you can't chase the market. If you go and chase, you're likely to get your head handed to you. So the one that we were able to get a double off yesterday, look how he's just melting back down here. So we're fortunate. If anything, this is why you have to work a plan. And your number one stressor always should be, how do I get myself into a risk-free trade as fast as possible? I worked really hard to make this money, and the venture cap market by definition is volatile. We often say that the market's job is to inflict as much pain on as many people as much of the time as possible. And unfortunately, you get into these face rippy moves, and it's just really easy to jump on the bandwagon. And yeah, we're going to the moon, and everything's just going to go straight up. And then all of a sudden, bam, you get your lunch handed to you. Also, too, I think this is a good analogy here. This is really, really dangerous. And I know there's probably a lot of people that were chasing the AI sort of bug, if you will. I don't think that this is a buy here. This looks really dangerous. And our rule at TRI, at least is Brian's rule. I don't know if anybody actually listens to me or not. But the rule is, if this is actually really a buy, we need to see bullish market structure a la W's, triple bottoms, whatever, on the other side of this trend line. But it almost looks to me like boom, boom, bang. Notice, is that a buy there? Nope. Is that a buy there? Nope. So I think that this trend line here is actually your major resistance line. So it is a little bit dangerous environment. You can see where I'm willing to buy this thing way down here. And I wouldn't be surprised if over the next month or two, I don't know whether this one in particular craps out. Who knows? I mean, I'm not in the business of predicting the future. But I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these crypto names now over the next month or two have to work their way back down. I suppose probably a good way to see this market is this total market. Little bit concerning. I mean, you can remember what we said about M's and W's in price. Well, same sort of thing in indicators. Willie, of course, quite stupid. Lower highs in the MACD. We haven't momentum broke here. But I'll tell you, if you get a whole bunch of FUD about that MetaMask, I can imagine That's going to cause kids to panic a little bit. You can see the bear volume is ramping up here. And of course, all we need is Mr. Gessler or something to come out and say something about alts, and that might just really punch it in the nose. And is this a coincidence? I don't know. If anything, I would expect the FUD to be most palatable down at the bottom end of the range. The fact that we're just getting going now, it's a little bit concerning, I'll tell you that much. I suppose the one good part about this, and this is where we, if we circle back to the website, we see that a lot of crypto names are still sort of positioned bullishly. We're at the bottom end of these very wide trading ranges. And a lot of moving average relationships, like the momentum of the market, is still pointing up. So, kind of the way that I talked to you guys about that Bitcoin chart on the weekly basis. I mean, I think you can actually make the argument that, key support right now is basically these two moving averages, the long-term moving average, which should be supportive, but also notice too, the fast moving average now is also creeping up, and it's actually just crossing the 200 SMA. So I suppose that's a good sign momentum wise. But if I was thinking key support, and how ironic, because it's exact opposite of what we just talked about with Ethereum and the Ethereum futures, you can kind of see there's a whole bunch of stops that are probably all built up against all of these lows now. So if the market really does want to puke out here, my hunch is you're probably going to see the coin back around 25 G's or so, 25, 26,000, somewhere in there. And if anything, what you would prefer to see is you'd actually prefer to see this in one big candle, just bang, get it done. That creates a big fractal. Everybody's sort of freaked out in the short term. They slam it into moving average support like you see here. And then maybe we start carving out some sort of hammer. And you see what happened on the other side of that dump. Sort of, okay, everybody's freaked out. Everybody who was going to sell has sold. The stops were tripped up of these lows. And now what does the market do? The market's run out of sellers. So it turns around and it heads right back up. So what I don't think you want to see is you don't want to see the market just sort of finish the week. And keep in mind, this is a weekly chart and we're only like halfway through. But you really don't want to see the market just sort of settle in here. And then next week, beep, this is an inside bar. We go through this low next week of, what's that, 29.15. And that becomes like an inside bar fractal top sell signal. And we have to spend probably about 6-8 weeks cleaning this crap up. So we'll see how it goes. What would you guys prefer? Would you prefer just rip the band-aid off, just a big, like $4,000 or $5,000 drop? Of course, all the major media outlets are all going to be like, crypto's going to zero. That's it. It's over. And then we know that the bottom's probably in. Or would you guys prefer just a long, slow drip where every single day it's like, oh my God, is MetaMask going to steal my money? Is MetaMask going to steal my money? Is MetaMask going to steal my money? And then, of course, Gessler comes out and says, well, don't worry about MetaMask. I'm going to steal your money. And then, of course, FUMC and the FUMCers, the central banksters, come out and say, no, Mr. Gessler, and no, MetaMask, we're going to steal your money. And it's just a long, slow, torturous grind back down into moving average support. Take your pick. I think I would prefer just rip the Band-Aid off hard in one fell swoop like this and just get it done. But anyway, you can see Brian's full of sunshine and rainbows today, eh? So there's your backdrop. The Econs, interestingly enough, like actual economic data is fairly light here. They're blaming the US market's weakness. And you can even see it's kind of a mixed bag. Tech's actually doing a little bit better. We did have a couple tech names, interestingly enough, that actually looked pretty interesting last night. in our secret options formula club. Maybe in the after party we'll review some of those names. They are looking perky, but they were blaming, they had all the stock indexes down first thing this morning. I think I showed you the ES was kind of, yeah, look at that. It's only down 2.5 points. So probably close it up on the day now. In fact, you can even see I was thinking like maybe we get some sort of top coming in here, but I never did get an M form in my magical trade location window. So they just keep grinding this market higher here. Maybe I wouldn't even be surprised if they finish it positive on the day. But I didn't really see any econs that were driving the bus here today. Mortgage applications fall sharply, and okay, we've been humming and hawing about the U.S. housing market. And frankly speaking, I don't actually think it's the consumer that's driving this housing market anymore. We've talked lots about this. This is all about, I suppose, with a guy named Fink, you have to be a bit concerned. So, what a surprise.
That sounds like a rant could be coming. I think that would be perfect for the after party, FYI.
Okay, yeah, what time is it? Oh yeah, look at that. Hey, I even started the video today going, I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm going to talk about here with you guys. So I was able to fill a half an hour, so I guess that's a good thing. Anyway, so the econs themselves, I didn't really see anything like that really was earth-shattering. This is all really more about earnings. And we're in an environment right now. And it was actually interesting because I do load up and I save the news headlines for reference later on. And you can see first thing this morning, the news headlines were all about, actually, I guess it's still the same headline. Some of the big banks and brokerage houses, of course, because the stock market was a bit weaker. You can see they were down quite heavily first thing this morning. So that was casting a shadow over the market. UK inflation, remember we were talking about UK inflation yesterday, so that sort of was pretty sanguine as well. So it is interesting to see that they are bringing the stock market back, and the financial stocks, the banks, those kind of things, I think they're still kind of underwater. Maybe we'll take a look at those kind of names in earnest in the after party. But the tech stocks, I think actually they're feeling a little bit better here. So might even see, by the day's end, you hear the headlines are, well, rally in the U.S. tech stocks because their earnings aren't so bad. Drag the market higher, something along those lines. What I would say, though, is be careful, and we'll just finish on this note, like I just sort of posted. That's not technically the most bullish of images. If anything, actually, that's rising wedges are technically a bearish chart pattern. And if and when an M actually does come into this image, then you'll know that we could be in for some fireworks going forward. So it hasn't broken yet. There is writing on the walls that things are looking a little bit dicey. You're starting to see some cracks in crypto. And of course, we are fast approaching May. And you all know how the cliche goes in May with, of course, a big FUMC here coming up second, third of the month. So there's your backdrop. Party! All right, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If anything, you'll have a probably a little bit more upbeat report from Julian tomorrow in the baby powder report. So we'll look forward to that. And then do we have anybody on the docket for Friday, Chris, that maybe we can tease the public about? I think Steven was thinking about coming on.
That's correct. Steven is on the docket for this coming Friday.
Cool.
Harmonics.
So Steven is one of our harmonicans. And I always love hanging out with Steven, talking charts with him. So look forward to that. So, all right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. I'll try and put a big smile on my face for Friday's broadcast. My apologies if I was a bit sanguine today. But can't always be sunshines and hamburgers. So anyway, have yourselves a great day. All the best. Slow and steady wins the race. And the only thing left for me to say to you good people now is bye for now.